bingo card for today. Isn't it so horrible to be right all the time about Donald Trump? Hi, Joby. Love you. It's so good to see you. And you were like the first one here. You've always been a teacher's pet. Let me pin the... Sorry, hold on. TikTok Studio's telling me to do like 10 things. Let me see how we're doing on YouTube. Oh, you guys. I know, it's a burden being right all the time. But actually, I didn't want to be right. I mean, I don't know how... Well, I think we do know how dumb you'd have to be to not understand that Trump was part of the Epstein stuff. I think we've witnessed it over and over. Whenever we have to hear from MAGA. But, you know, I promised my therapist I would stop watching lives on TikTok because it's like harming my mental health. But I am so curious. Like, my guess, don't ruin it for me. Let me just guess. All MAGA is still supporting Trump, even though now we know for sure he's a 3PDO. Or was it part of, allegedly part of the cover up of that, or whatever you want to say. And now, like, I would love to say, because does everyone remember, like, around 2022, where, like, one of the common themes of, like, the MAGA folks whose brains don't work so good, like, on TikTok when they were debating, would be to, like, project onto the left and say that, you know, the left were full of people that hurt kids in that way. Like, I mean, that was literally their whole thing, was like, hey, it's not us, it's you. So now that you all know it is you, and it's, I mean, this is the guy they're all on their knees for 24 hours a day. Like, and believe me, we're about to have the most fun. Also, I was up on you guys, if you've been watching the People's Receipts a long time, we're on episode 117. That's crazy. Right before these huge funding bills go through, there's these debates where the minority can go to the Rules Committee and add amendments. And that happened last night. Like, most of the Democrats in the House were up all night long trying to add amendments to this absolutely unbelievable, what they call a clean CR. Is it a clean CR where the senators, and this is not a joke, I don't know if everyone's heard about this, they baked into this clean CR funding bill that just the senators too, they hung out the House to dry, their MAGA counterparts in the House, they get like $500,000 if the FBI has ever, or if the Department of Justice has ever looked at their phone records. Remember, at first the lie was they were tapping our phones, and then they got fact-checked into, like, next week for lying about that, right? We're talking about access of, like, you know, just a list of calls, like looking at someone's phone bill, which was subpoenaed by a grand jury. It was actually American citizens that wanted to see that. And the senators have baked in a poison pill where they get hundreds of thousands of dollars, up to millions of dollars for this. Like, we, the taxpayers, are just going to pay these weirdos. Think about it. What if the J6, what if the officers, you know, we have people who unalived on J6, like, who can no longer work because they've been, you know, emotionally scarred and physically scarred within an inch of their lives. They have not got a dime of reparations for pain and suffering. And we're talking about people who, and I've read every court document about the fake electors, and these senators who were involved were absolutely involved. They were absolutely part of it when, you know, of trying to pressure Mike Pence to not certify the election on January 6th. Ron Johnson, Pete Sessions, all of these people were all up in, there was tons of evidence that they were part of it. And they want to be paid, allegedly, in my opinion, for crimes they committed. They were helping a coup along, and they want millions of taxpayer dollars. I know. Will this lead to our Doge checks? That's funny. Like, actually, oh my God, we have so many funny things to talk about. Hold on. Let me finish one more thing on YouTube while my brain is still reads. Okay. I'm just setting up super chats. I wish I could do this automatically before the live started. Maybe I can read. Okay. Okay, we are good. Let's tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Tapping is clapping. Let's get to 50K as fast as possible. What is oh no. Sorry, I'm like realizing I don't have a pass key on this. Use Touch ID to sign. Sorry, Google doesn't believe my email is mine. And that's how I can tell when people like tip me. Oh, look, I updated this. This is fun. Maybe we should do this all the time. That people can get an idea of like, I don't know why, but I mean, I'm big on transparency. Like how, but this is from Tuesday till now of our computer fund. And I'm wearing these headphones because something weird happened to my in-ear headphones yesterday, so I'll have new ones tomorrow, hopefully. But these are like block out all sound. I feel like I'm in my own. It's like the only sound I can hear is my own voice right now. Okay, got email open. We are good. Let me just okay, so if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, and that was most of, like I said, I've been up all night listening to the debates in the Rules Committee, and the Democrats in the House have been up all night bringing amendments. And so we'll hear a lot. I mean, they were fighting for hours. And I've never seen the Republicans like this. Like, they wouldn't even fight back. Like, it was the saddest thing. If you want to read more, though, about what I was talking about over, we apparently have to pay tax senators who were involved in, like, helping a coup along on January 6th, millions of dollars. There's a New York Times article about it called "Spending Bill Would Pave Way for Senators to Sue Over Phone Searches." Yeah. But the best part is, how funny is it that it's only for the Senate? Because there were people's phone records in the House that were looked at as well. But these 50 senators, they truly are like the Roman Senate, like just bloated, greedy weirdos. Draw the eyes to the info. Okay, yeah. So spending bill would pay. And anyways, when we get into the debates in the Rules Committee, that's pretty much a huge part of what everyone was screaming about. But I want to talk about Epstein, which I none of this should be a shock to anyone. I've never been less surprised in my life about something. And the good news is, and sorry, I haven't checked. Has Adelita Grijalva been sworn in yet? Have they done it yet? Because I think they have to do it technically before they vote. It's not. They haven't done it yet. Yeah, I mean, they are going to do it today. Like as soon as before they vote, they'll have to do it. So thank God. And like we said, she is the 218th signature on the discharge petition. I'm going to get into the Epstein stuff, but what I want to say, and one of the most disturbing things, is that Trump is right now having an emergency meeting. They are trying to pressure Lauren Boebert into taking her vote, and Nancy Mace. It's not at first the rumors were Lauren Boebert's being called into the White House, and they're gonna back her into a corner and get her to withdraw her signature from the discharge petition. Yeah, which smacks of innocence, right? That's what I need to do when I'm definitely not involved in a 3PDO cover-up. I have to threaten random people. Definitely have nothing to hide, but we've got to threaten and blackmail people to keep their mouths shut. Well, yeah, those exactly, Boebert and Nancy Mace. They got the two limpy gazelles, truly. And they're going to either it's either the carrot or the stick. That's probably literally happening right now. So let me get into some of this Epstein stuff. I love Brian Baez, especially when, the way he made, I think I'm going to skip around a lot. But Brian Baez, who I love and everyone should follow, it's just mentally divine. We always talk about it because he makes the best content. Watch the video he made this morning. I was like, this is giving me life. The only thing MTG ever stood up for. Well, I know. And I've been thinking a lot about that because yesterday I was making the point that MTG's there's no healthcare plan, this now seemingly is on our side, but she voted for it. I'm actually very interested to see when this vote happens, either today or tomorrow or whenever they finally get to the vote. I'm very interested to see. Margarine, if you don't vote no, if you don't back up everything you've been saying, then you're just a giant hypocrite. So we shall see. She better vote no. Like I said yesterday, we don't have the votes. Like, this is going to pass. So I wouldn't like waste your time hoping. But, and I've heard like Jared Golden of Maine, he's a Democrat, right? Isn't he a Democrat? Or is he, whatever. He's middle of the road. All these Maine people are just rhinos, like whether they're on the left or the right. I mean, there's a couple Democrats I heard that might not vote no, they might vote yes, and then there's Republicans who probably will side with the Democrats, but none of the numbers are enough, because I've been up all night watching the goings on in the Rules Committee, are enough to change anything, so let's just get mentally prepared. But again, this is related to the Epstein stuff. This is Brian Baez. If you want to follow him you can either type his name in, Brian, Baez is spelled Baez, or at Mentally Divine. He's an amazing creator. What is happening? Okay, sorry. I could not figure out why I couldn't hear anything.
Democrats have just released new emails that prove that Donald Trump knew about Jeffrey Epstein's abuse and that Trump himself spent time with Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Email 1 is a direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who is his girlfriend who's spending time in jail right now. Epstein writes, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim has spent hours at my house with him. He has never once mentioned it to the police chief, etc." This email proves that Donald Trump knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and that he was also spending time with the victims himself and never said anything.
Is there an echo? Do you guys hear a bad echo? Hold on. Let me check there's some weird thing that turned on my computer. Like, I'd never seen it before. Hold on real quick. Is this better? Tell me I'm going to go back and we'll start it over. Just tell me if the echo's still there. Because there was one thing I don't even know what it is on my sound.
Jeffrey Epstein's abuse and that Trump himself spent time with Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Email 1 is a direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who is his girlfriend who's spending time in jail right now. Epstein writes, "I want you to..."
Hold on one second. Let me just have a little look-see at this. Because I have this is going to be reset. Sorry. I got to get to my sound mixer. Yep, everything is off. TikTok, except for TikTok Studio. This is so strange. Still really bad. Not terrible, but it's not terrible, but it's there. Okay, because I'm trying to figure out if that's something I can fix. Give me one, because I can hear it I'm listening to the live in my ears. Give me one. Let me check this sound mixer and just see. Yeah, sound effects. Echo check. Let me see something.
Realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
Primary, what is that? Am I on surround sound? No, I'm not. That's what I was just checking on my computer. I have it coming to my audio mixer. All the sound is going to like an external audio mixer. The speakers are set right. All the volume is off on the apps. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit like, I honestly am not sure why it would be echoing. Let me try a different video. And yeah, and there's an echo test now on TikTok Studio. So I just did it with that video playing and it says there's no echo. So well, yeah, but I had the mic muted. That's why, yeah. So I was thinking that too. I was like, maybe the mic is picking up the sound or something, but I had the mic muted. Let me try one other video and you guys tell me if it's just as bad. I'm going to mute myself.
Caitlin, as you mentioned multiple times, we just don't have the context surrounding any of these emails. But that first email you read, the language absolutely jumps out to me. This is April 2nd, 2011. Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell, "I want you to..."
So weird, because I'm listening. May have happened when you recorded it. Yeah, and that's the strangest thing. Hold on, let me just reset something and try again, because this iPad is muted. Everything is muted. This is the weirdest thing I've ever. This one might not have an answer. All the sound is off. Yeah, this.
Realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump, blank, and blank here
Maybe it is. Is it possible? How could it be the headphones though? That doesn't make sense. I have all of that muted, so it can't be coming out. Let me just try really quick. I'm just gonna plug in my old headphones because that's the only thing that's different. What? Maybe I had them in the wrong slot. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I had them in line out. Maybe that's why. Because otherwise, let me. Now I can't hear it. Oh, I muted it. Okay.
Who this person is. The committee is the one doing the redacting here. But obviously he is referencing someone who Jeffrey Epstein says in this email from 2011 that spent time with Donald Trump at his house.
And so we've asked headphones. Let me just try one more time and plug it and make sure I'm plugging it not into line out thing, because I think that's what was happening. I had it plugged in instead of headphones. It was plugged into line out, so that's why there's an echo. Hold on. Tell me if there's an echo now.
White House for comment on this morning. Obviously, these are emails that predate his time in office this term. They span about 15 years, this correspondence that's being released. And Trump has denied that he knew anything about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and the sex trafficking of young women. And he said that
I'm really good at things like this. Okay. Skills that I never thought I would have. Okay, cool. That's what it is. I put it in line out, and that's why. Thank you guys for helping me through that. Okay, now, actually, let's do Brian Bias's, and then I'll do Caitlin Collins, who kind of gives like a more detailed discussion, but I just love Brian. This is the perfect moment for Brian Bias energy. It's just, it's so satisfying. Oh, and MAGA, yes, if you guys would like to line up and denounce your support for Trump and for someone who's involved really just thought I got a violation. I didn't. Everything's okay. Sorry, something is going on with, everything's fine now, but if I pause, it's just because TikTok Studio is saying I need to, because the connection is bad, even though my internet connection's fine. Yes, but again, MAGA, if you would like to get in line in the queue to this is not you tell us like you don't believe it or come up with your next creepy conspiracy theory. Just in case you would like to just apologize to all of us and admit you were desperately, painfully wrong this entire time and renounce your support for Trump, you absolutely, Mark, if you don't want to be here, you can leave. This is not compulsory. If you don't like listening to me talk, my advice would be don't hang out here. Because that's all that happens here. Like, I love when men tell me not to speak. Like, do I show up at your lives you probably don't have with 5 people in them and tell you not to talk? No, I don't. I will read my grocery list for 4 hours just to piss you off, Mark. Pipe down or go away.
Democrats have just released new emails that prove that Donald Trump knew about Jeffrey Epstein's abuse and that Trump himself spent time with Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Email 1 is a direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's his girlfriend who's spending time in jail right now. Epstein writes, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim has spent hours at my house with him. He has never once mentioned it to the police chief, etc. This email proves that Donald Trump knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and that he was also spending time with the victims himself and never said anything to the police. Email number 2 is a direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. For people who don't know, Michael Wolff is a controversial journalist and author who has written several explosive books about Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein writes, victim at Mar-a-Lago. Of course he knew about the girls. Email 3, Michael Wolff says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. Jeffrey Epstein then says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Wolff then responds, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. This email is straight up about extortion and blackmail. If Trump says that he wasn't at the house, if he wasn't on the...
I say something about this that I don't hear people talking about that's super disturbing to me. Like, I always talk about, let me just say, unless you're like a nurse or a doctor or a dentist, those people go to university for like professional schooling and they need to actually learn things that they will later use in life. The rest of us, bachelors of arts folks, we all took a lot of weird, at least I did. I took a ton of strange class. Like, I got credit for fencing. I tried to become a sword fighter in college, and I told my volleyball coach, because I was like I was on full scholarship, and I told my volleyball coach I had a class for my major, which obviously I'm just not getting a degree in sword fighting. And I told him that there was no other time, and I had to be 15 minutes late to every practice because it conflicted with a class for my major. And he showed up in my fencing class and dragged me out of there. He's like, he's like, you're a history major and you are missing class to try to stab people. I was like, absolutely. But anyways, the reason I'm talking about random university classes, if you ask me, like, what was the most valuable class you ever took at university that you're still using the stuff you learned today? I took this class called The Sexual Abuse of People, and it was taught by like the former head of the SEX crimes division of the FBI in the Northwest. And this man was scary, but a genius. We learned about profiling and all this stuff. And one of the things we learned about when it comes to these 3PDO, if you will, rings, is that like, there's that organization, it's like NAMBLA or something. It's like something man, boy, love, it's like people who are trying to like normalize this type of like scary. Well, they operate in circles, right? Like when these types of people, like what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, was running this huge ring, there's going to be like-minded people surrounding him. What the is this? Michael Wolff? Like, let's not stop. Like, he needs to be investigated. Why is he giving advice to Jeffrey Epstein about blackmail, coercion, and cover-up? And how do you understand? This man is allegedly a reporter. I never understood why Trump and like Epstein were so close to this guy, and like why they were telling him all this stuff. I'm like, to me, the call is coming from inside the journalist. Like, this guy is very clearly not just someone reporting on things, but is a like-minded person strategizing with three PDOs on how to cover it up. Well, this is just my opinion when I saw this email. Here, let's repeat. Let me just go back a little bit where he's reading this. Like, what are you talking? You're a journalist giving Epstein advice on a 3PDO cover-up and how to leverage it? Like, that's, I don't know, Michael Wolff.
If he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. This email is straight up about extortion and blackmail. If Trump says that he wasn't at the house, if he wasn't on the plane, which he was, seeing his name there before, they were basically plotting to have it over Donald Trump's head and said that if he says that he wasn't there, which he was, then they can use that for political currency. Here's the beautiful part about this. Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who didn't want to swear in Adelita Grijalva, who won Arizona's 7th Congressional District 7 fucking weeks ago, is finally about to be sworn in today. And when she's sworn in, she will be the last signature on the discharge petition to force a vote to release all of the Epstein files, so we'll finally know the full fucking truth. Bitch, we haven't forgotten. Release the files.
Does that not sound a little bit concerning? Michael Wolff is very clear. Like, it sounds like he knows exactly what's going on, what Trump's role in it, what Epstein's role in it. It's common knowledge to him. This is a journalist who has knowledge of all these things. And instead of being like, hey, this is horrible, I need to go talk to the police, it's like, hey, let's game plan together about how we can keep this covered up. Like, that is some very weird. I mean, two things happen. Like, I'm very suspicious of him, in fact, being, I don't know what the words are to say, a sympathizer or someone similar to, that does things similar to Jeffrey Epstein. But now I actually think I believe him even more after I see these emails and how close. And I mean, this was what Jeffrey Epstein's like giving him PR, like, or he's giving Jeffrey Epstein advice on the cover up. Yeah, like Michael Wolff, I don't know. He's definitely involved. Thank you for the $10. Thank you, Teacher Felice, for your new computer. Thank you. But yeah, I just want to point that out because I don't hear people bringing this up. And Dolphin, thank you so much for that gift. That was so kind, by the way. That was amazing. But yeah, I think, and there is a specific, if you're like, where do I find those emails? I mean, I'm sure they're posted all over everywhere, but also there's a specific New York Times article with them like annotated that's pretty interesting as well, which I have screenshots of it somewhere. But, okay, wait, I want to figure out which part I want to go to next. Okay, about Trump being so paranoid and scared, right now probably, as we speak. At first, in the morning, Dana Bash starts reporting like, okay, like my White House contacts are telling me Trump's having like a crisis PR communications meeting about what to do about this. And think about all of this stuff too. It makes a lot of sense why all of a sudden he's pardoning everyone. He's, the senators have baked in bribes for themselves in this. Like the wheels are falling off this grift train. And it's like almost like they're closing up shop. Trump's like, pardon anyone who knows anything about me that they could use against me. Like he is cleaning house and trying to make himself like as insulated as possible. Like, oh yeah, you could tell. Caroline Leavitt, which actually maybe, let me show you some KK Caroline just lying up a storm. Like, she's a pathological liar, but today's lies, I think, should go in some sort of record book of like, how can you even stand up there? I'd be calling in sick. I'd be like, oh, I have a stomach flu. Can't come in and lie today because it's going to be so obvious I'm a liar. And keep in mind, this is a woman, I will never stop talking about this, who wears a cross. These people are professing to love the Lord Jesus Christ, whilst they are literally right now, as we sit here, doing a 3PDO cover-up crisis PR meeting. Yeah, of course she didn't wear it. Did she? Oh, that's true. She doesn't have any necklace on. Okay, I love how C-SPAN is like covering all this. Like, C-SPAN is even covering everything with Epstein. It's hilarious. This is from C-SPAN. This is from just a couple hours ago.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe that
Who am I to judge? Let's see. A person whose brain works? Who am I to judge? A person who was someone called the richest, which means he's not rich at all, is asking me why I'm judging. First of all, I'm not judging. I'm stating facts. I'm saying she's the one that constantly talks about her love of the Lord Jesus Christ and is working for a pathological liar who's starving people to death. Like, let me forget about the Americans because thanks to statistical analysis, we can pinpoint, we know almost exactly how many people will unalive due to the lack of health care and the lack of SNAP. But already, I don't know if you know, there's articles that came out this weekend about the thousands and thousands of people who have unalived in Africa due to U.S. aid that was already there. They just wouldn't open the doors and give the people the food, and it rotted. We had already paid for it with our taxpayer dollars, and they just refused to give it to anyone. And thousands of people. That's Africa. Okay. Can you hear? I'm talking about taxpayer dollars. We had already spent them. I can tell the richest, your brain doesn't work so good. You haven't really made a cognizant point yet. You're just repeating things. I said it was Africa. That's where the majority of U.S. aid goes to. We had already paid for it. It was already there. The food was there in the storehouses. All we had to do was open the doors. So you're asking me why I think, I don't know, let's just say there are pathological liars in the executive branch who are grifting, who have enriched themselves to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars, while Americans are starving and while aid we already paid for, which you don't understand how the government works, but the legislative branch is the appropriator. The only legal appropriator of any taxpayer dollars lies with the legislative branch. Trump has broken the law and violated the Constitution countless times since he's been in office a second time. He did it the first time as well, but continues to do it and uses our tax dollars to do it. And you're wondering why I should say that or care about it? If I get it, you're a cuck. And Gavin Newsom is selling knee pads. So whilst you're down there on your knees, assing off an orange clown who's stealing from you, literally has his hand in your pocket and is stealing from you, make sure you get some knee pads so you can be comfortable. Truly, Gavin Newsom is selling them. They're sold out right now because they're in such high demand. But while you're on your knees 24/7, it will probably get uncomfortable. I was a college volleyball player, so I know a lot about knee pads. So make sure you get yourself some, sir. Like, how embarrassing for you. I can promise you. And also, thank you for the engagement. Every time you comment something idiotic, it just boosts my live. Like, you'll never catch me in a MAGA live commenting anything because I understand how the internet works. No, thank you, truly. Please, thank you for continuing to contribute to the success of this live and showing everyone how dumb you are. Anyways, this is the last warning. I do think you need to be here because you don't know what's going on and you could learn something, but I have to be able to focus. So if you continue distracting people by being generically idiotic, I will block you. The thing is, MAGA, oh my God, that's not the correct subject verb agreement. The thing is, MAGA don't have to go live to validate we are comfy with our person. Of course, did I not say, hey, die on that hill. Literally, like, that's the wrong, this is a person who's involved in a cover-up, a 3PDO cover-up, and you're like 10 toes down for it. We know who you are. The alarm bells are ringing. This guy is absolutely fine with the cover-up. No, he's not. Anyways, let's move along. That's not how bots work. Bots can't respond to conversations in real time. That's not how bots work. I will block him. I will. See, that's all y'all say about him. Okay, cool. Good. Why don't you have any evidence? Now, this would be the point where you disprove something I said, where you're like, actually, it's not true. Trump hasn't been grifting and stealing from the American people. But every single thing I said is a fact. Every single thing you've said is a feeling that you have. Right? I validate all of your big feelings. You're a very emotional man, feeling a lot. It's just none of it is true. Where's my evidence? That's what I do on the people's receipts. I'm a former historical researcher. That's how I got extra money in college. All I do on here is provide receipts. But anyways, where's your evidence? Like, I can't help all these people. I'm going to have to block him because he's too dumb. Johnny, hi, thank you for the pretty galaxy. 9 followers. God, the richest. I mean, you got 9 people following you. Jesus is king. Yep. Jesus would be so proud of you on your knees and justifying a 3PDO cover up. Like, praise the Lord. I'll never get enough of these people. Dear Lord. Okay, he's gone. I had to block him. That was embarrassing for him. We don't want him to... You guys, if you are, and I know MAGA, most of you are super happy and fine with co-signing and standing 10 toes down on a 3PDO cover-up. Like, I truly think you guys should be like a little quieter about it, though. It's super disturbing. You guys are like, I'm here to loudly yell that I don't give a about children, which we already knew that. We knew that. I'll never forget how you guys got on your knees and sobbed for Charlie Kirk, and a week and a half before, you say Jesus is king. In a Catholic school, these kids were just trying to go to mass, and they were pew-pewed. Kids were throwing their bodies on their friends to save their lives, and you guys didn't care. So I guess, yeah, if you don't care about that, should I be shocked you don't care about this? Absolutely not. Like, literally, absolutely not. Oh, you don't care if children are essayed? Shocking. Absolutely shocked.
Emails were made public. Can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was
I'm sorry. We're going to have to just block. I don't know where all of you weirdos came from. To say people didn't care is wild and disgusting. He just said that. See, this also proves my point that MAGA can't read. That guy I just blocked said that. That's what he said. He wrote that in his comment, that he's fine with our guy and he does not care about this. He said it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. You were talking about him. That's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I thought I got confused. I was like, I care. He literally was like, Trump's my guy. Which right before this live, Chris, like who debates or whatever, he was texting me and I was like, watch, I'm going to go live and these people are going to be defending Trump. They don't care. If you've ever wondered if these people care about children, just know they don't. Like, check all of these people. That man's hard drive needs to be examined. Like, truly, somebody should go keep an eye on that guy. He's like, Trump's my guy. Cool.
Redacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it. Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a who has already publicly made statements.
Why they chose to redact the name, the whole thing. It's like, honestly, and I don't know. It's, oh God, she's not smart. How? And I've said this before. I publicly apologize to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I thought you were dumb and a bad press secretary. What was that? Kayleigh McEnany? I thought she was the dumbest press secretary of all time. But I apologize to all the other Republican press secretaries who I previously thought were dumb. I really didn't know like how low we could sink with idiocy. Oh yeah, bring back Sean Spicer. Actually, hire, what's that woman's name? Melissa McCarthy, so she can do her Sean Spicer impression. That's what we need, is Melissa McCarthy pretending to be Sean Spicer. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When she had like the podium around her neck. It was like on Saturday Night Live, and she has like the podium around her neck, like a strap. It is like, oh my God, that was one of the best impressions in my life. If you guys miss Sean Spicer, he's like on Newsmax, I'm pretty sure. Or is it Newsmax? He's on one of those far right, like pathological lying network. Like he's still out there. He's out in the wild. Oh, I know. Those were the days. Remember when we thought things were bad back then? Oh, to go back to the Sean Spicer days. Like, now things are really bad. We've got to explain to MAGA men why it's bad to diddle children now. That's where we're at now. Like, and you could see it. Do you see these people? They're like, how do I justify this? How do I justify the abuse of children? Like, I'm in complete cognitive dissonance. I'm fine with Trump robbing me. Everything's fine. I just, like that's what they're doing. They're not like, holy shit, I need to reevaluate my life. They're like, how am I going to spin this? How am I going to spin this? And that's what she's doing. If you listen to what she's saying, she's like, I can't believe the Democrat Party, it's Democratic Party. For the last time, MAGA, learn to use adjectives correctly. It's Democratic Party. When it's describing a noun, it's Democratic. But literally, she's sitting here saying, how could they redact the names? That was their original argument. Because my brain works pretty good. I still remember when they were first trying to come up with fake reasons to not release the files. They said, well, we have to protect the victims. We have to protect the victims. We can't put their names out. And that's when Ro Khanna and, oh my God, who's the guy from Kentucky that votes against the Republicans every time? Wait, Thomas Massey. Thank you. Okay, got it. Thomas Massey were like, no, of course we're going to redact any and every victim's name. And she's mad that they didn't leave victims' names. That's how desperate and off a normal line of logic she is. She's saying that the Democratic Party, because I do know the difference between an adjective and a noun, is horrible for redacting Virginia Giuffre's name. I thought that was like what we all agreed upon should happen, but apparently not. And then I love how, wait, hold on. Let's listen to a little more because I'm going to make this point.
About her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is unfortunately no longer with us. Mary.
Thank you, Kevin. 2 questions on this. In the interest of transparency, why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it.
Can you imagine, though? And I just want to say this, like, not all of these people have narcissistic personality disorder. But that is the terrifying thing about capitalism. It's almost like narcissism is a defense against capitalism. The entire executive branch is operating by, like, DARVO. You know that acronym about, like, narcissistic abusers? DARVO? Hold on. I'm good. I know it, but I'm about to say it wrong, so let me get it. Yeah. Think about this. Like, I was raised by a much more intelligent, malignant narcissist than Donald Trump or any of these other losers. Like, mine is definitely a chess player. My mommy is definitely meaner and smarter than Trump. But DARVO is a manipulative tactic used by those who have done wrong to avoid responsibility. It's an acronym, MAGA. Look up that word. It's big for you. It's when, letters stand for other words. Standing for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. Is like, think about that. Her entire PR strategy is gaslighting. I'm sorry I didn't see who. Someone correctly in the comments was like, this is gaslighting. This is literally DARVO. She was trained by narcissists to gaslight and lie to the American people. It's their literal tactic. You deny it, you attack, instead of being repentant, because real narcissists have no effective empathy. Like, I can watch my mom. I can be crying in front of her and begging for her acceptance, and I can literally just see her eyes wandering like to the TV. Like, she does not care. She has no sympathy. There's no empathy. She's just like, oh, Jesus, is this over? Like, you're going to keep going? And so deny, and then you go on the attack. Like, anytime I've ever been like, hey, can you take some accountability for X, Y, or Z? Immediately, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, wait, but you did this to me. Then she attacks me and brings up something else, which is always like, reactive abuse. Yes, you drive me insane until I react. And when I react, it is terrifying. That is true. And reverse victim and offender. That's always, the Republican, political communication strategy is actually abusive DARVO gaslighting. Like, if you feel like you're being abused, you are. And that's why I find MAGA idiots, men. Can you imagine? Remember last Friday when I did that whole live of what's the right flank of, and the whole point of that was, hey, it's not the right flank. They're all in the White House and they hate women. Like, truly, that's what's going on. And then we have these MAGA men who, they can't even think. Like, that is why they want to stop women from voting. That is why they cling to the Bible and Christian nationalism. Because, like, whatever happened to a meritocracy? Why, MAGA, are you guys so, like, useless? And you can barely read, can't do math, can't figure out what's going on, can't correctly identify when you're being robbed. And then instead of being like, man, I really do love a meritocracy, and I'm going to compete. I'm going to read, I'm going to learn to do some math, and I'm going to compete with all of the women in America who are much smarter than me and more capable and multitasking and doing 800 things at once. Nope, they'd rather just hold the Holy Bible and use it to bring back the Salem witch trials. That's, like, you guys are mediocre on your best day, and I can smell the mediocrity on MAGA men. Like, some guy screamed at me in a bowling alley in Colorado about, it's not all men, it's women too. And I'm like, well, statistically, that's not correct, sir. I was like, I do validate your feelings. Like, always just tell MAGA men that it's okay to feel their feelings, because they get even more angry. And you saw that. I love feelings, by the way. Emotions are fine. This is just me gaslighting MAGA men back. You saw how that guy that was in the comments, the richest, what was he doing? He's like, oh, you're crashing out. You're emotional. I'm listing facts, and you are scrambling around trying to figure out how to make me stop because you're melting when you have to hear the truth. Like, you guys reek of insecurity. Truly. And the irony of MAGA men is, like, just own that. Like, I'm insecure. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally unstable. I have so many faults. Like, there is power in just owning who you are. And once you learn that and you really are okay with who you are, I've done horrible things. Like, for like after I quit sports, that was, in looking back, the only thing that was keeping me behaving like a sane person. And then I went nuts for like 10 years, and I was just a monster to even be around. Like, that's why I go to therapy so much now, is because I'm trying to, like, atone and understand and take accountability. Like, there is power in owning your shit, because nobody can keep throwing it in your face. That's the problem with MAGA men, which is also indicative of the Republican Party. If Trump would just be like, yeah, here's the truth, here's what happened, you know what I'm saying? It takes away anyone's power. But that's the problem with narcissists. That moment never comes. Never. Like, the closest I've ever got is by Bob. Oh my God, one time my parents had to come to therapy with me, and the psychiatrist is like, okay, obviously you're not my patient. I'm just gonna, based on what, I've worked with Felice. This is one of the people I had to go to PTSD camp because I literally have PTSD. It's like I've been through a war dealing with my parents. And he's like, yes, I think that one of you is a narcissist, has narcissistic personality disorder. He didn't like directly point at my mother. And he's like, and one of you, it's very common for people with disordered brains, for, people with borderline personality disorder to pair off with narcissists. My parents are terrifying. Two very terrifying people. And do you know what my mom did at that moment? Do you think she took any accountability? Like, watching Trump is like watching, well, a dumber version of my mother. No, she immediately points at my father, no joke, and goes, it's you're the narcissist, and tries to gaslight my dad into confessing that he's a narcissist. Like, my dad has empathy. He's definitely not. But, like, there is no truth that is ever coming from Donald Trump. And as long as you are like some MAGA man running cover for a 3PDO, like, you don't have a leg to stand on. Like, if you come into the live and are just an honest person, like, hey, like, I've been supporting this guy, like, I feel like my personality is tied to it. I'm scared that, like, if all this falls down, who am I now? Like, those are the types of things I can engage with and understand. But as long as you continue gaslighting and pretending like nothing horrible is happening to America, to children inside America, like, you are always going to look like a fool. Like, that, if there's one thing I've learned, the most powerful thing you can do is take accountability, and it actually diffuses it. People can't use shit against you. Like, I love taking accountability.
Just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And
A quiz. Let's review because my memory works and I'm not a pathological liar. Now, who is it that met with the victims and validated their existence and has been trying to help them? Let me see. Who was that? Who was that? It was not MAGA. That's who it was. Like, what? The only thing, and I've talked about, this is personal for me. That's why I talk so personally about it, because I was essayed as a child. Like, this is very personal. If there's any victims of anything I've ever cared about, it is this. Like, literally the projection. Like, this is a terrifying, manipulative, abusive tactic that she uses. Like, hey, I'm describing myself and what MAGA is guilty of, and I'm going to point my finger at my enemy and accuse them of what I've very clearly done, and we can research the timeline of.
It's not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing?
No. No, child. I feel like she's a child. Like kids having kids. Does anyone remember when she had a baby and was like at work the next day? And I don't want to start feeling empathy for her because she behaves in such awful ways. And remember when I showed you guys what she used to look like? Like the face she has now, if you've been watching the People's Receipts, is a different face than she used to have. And she is married to a guy who is like 35 years older than her. It's like, I don't want to say I have empathy for her, but I think she's in a very, very, very bad situation. Like she's married to this like creepy old man who has all the money and power and is friends with Trump. And then like, just if you don't remember, I have it somewhere, but I'm not going to look it up. You should see like what she used to look like and what she looks like now. Like, and I'm saying, listen, gender affirming care, like one of my favorite things about MAGA is their absolute commitment to gender affirming care, but nobody else can have it. Apparently you can only do gender affirming care if you're a straight, insecure MAGA person, but if you're gay, you can't do, or if you're trans, you can't do gender affirming care. Do you guys get where I'm going with this? This is gender affirming care. Remember when I showed Kristi Noem used to look like a washed up, like rode hard, put away wet, like I don't even know what to call it. Like, do you remember that hair women had, like moms had in like the late 90s, where it was like almost spiky on the top, and then it was I can't. She looked like you. No, she looked nothing like me. She definitely didn't have long hair. Yes, K+8. Okay, exactly. Like early K+. Thank you. See, people already know Kristi Noem looked exactly like early Kate Gosselin, like hairstyle, exact. And then did a bunch of gender affirming care, as she continues to do. The gender affirming care never stops. But hey, trans people, don't try to do any gender affirming care, because MAGA's busy taking up all the hormones, all the T-gel, all the testosterone, all the estrogen, all of the filler, all of the implants, all of the rhinoplasties. Yeah, maybe that's why. Like, why don't any of you look like you used to? You guys look insane. I am not claiming to be good looking, but I have never like done anything to my face. I'm excited though. I feel like I'm excited to get started. It's just too expensive to start putting all that. Like, I can't afford it, but I'm not saying I never would. I just haven't yet. I think it's very greedy and very ironic that MAGA engages in gender affirming care 24 hours a day. If you watch these red pill bro podcasts, all they're doing is like, it's okay, man. Like, when I turned 30, I didn't feel like a man. And then I just got on some T-gel. And now I feel like a man. And it's like, yeah, that's probably why you went bald too. Like, testosterone, large amounts of testosterone causes male pattern baldness. Like, literally. So just saying, you're probably not helping yourself having hair, but these people can have gender affirming care, the same medications, the same prescriptions, the same fillers, everything. It's fine when they do it and make themselves look like aliens, but it's not fine if the trans community would like to self-actualize. And that's because the Bible, according to them. That's nearest we could tell. It's because the Bible. Okay, here's another clip of Caroline Levitt lying. I swear I would have called in sick today. I'm surprised. I give her actually credit for showing up to tell these lies.
Given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That is that's a defining factor of transparency.
Takes her cross off when she lies. Kai in the comments like, where's her cross? We already talked about this. You're a little late to we've already examined that. Like, when she tells her worst lies, the cross is never on. Like, truly, the cross disappeared. It was burning. Yeah, it was causing her too much pain. It was literally burning a hole into her skin, so she had to take it off. Well, she tells these lies. What is she talking about? So let me get this straight. And I just want to be clear on the reporting, and I have the clip and I can play it. Early this morning, because I was thinking, like, maybe I'll take a day off. I don't feel so good. I'm on, like, antibiotics and lung steroids again. I don't, and then I saw what was happening, and I was like, oh, never mind. I have to do this. But early this morning, Dana Bash was, CNN, I believe, I could be wrong, is the first people to break this story, that they had been told directly that there was a meeting first with Lauren Boebert, and later it revealed they were bringing Nancy Mace as well. It is not to have an open door policy with the dumbest people in Congress. It is to blackmail and cajole and coerce them into taking their names off the discharge position. And I get it. I'm just a woman with a tiny brain. Which, what does that say about MAGA? If my brain doesn't work so good, give up, MAGA. Give up. Pack it in. But I do think that it is a little counterintuitive to innocence to spend an entire day in the executive branch game planning of how to blackmail and coerce people into taking their names off the discharge petition. Like, that, does that scream innocent to anyone else? Does it scream innocence? And let's also do one of my favorite thought experiments. Picture in your mind right now if this was Joe Biden. If Joe Biden has done all of these things we are now talking about, MAGA would have pitchforks on the White House lawn. Actually, I think the left we would beat you to it. we probably would beat you to we'd beat you to it. But I just want to point out, everyone picture in your head if this was Joe Biden, yeah, you guys would be, oh my God, if it was Barack Obama, oh my God, can you imagine? I'd be scared. I'd be like, you need to flee the country. Yeah, like, everyone just picture in your mind if this was a Democrat. And let me just say, for the sake of doing that, this is why. Like, all the people on the left, which I think are the moderates, I'm loving what I call the new left, which are the majority of the Democratic base is now progressive. Like, this is why I don't like Bill Clinton. And when I was, oh God, never say never, but I don't think working on presidential campaigns is for me. But when I was helping Kamala Harris's campaign in Arizona for free, I've never been paid for political views in my life. And I went to a speech that Bill Clinton was giving. He didn't know Kamala Harris's name. Like 102 times he mispronounced her name, which sounds like a small thing, but I think it's very indicative of who Bill Clinton is. Someone who's only interested in doing creepy things and doing shitty things to women. Like, you can't even figure out the candidate's name. I know, Andy, that was a fun time, not for my PTSD and anxiety. It was fun doing that the highlight was seeing Obama in person and seeing how people think like Obama's like the Pope in real life. Like people believe if they touch him that their like cancer will be healed. That was probably the coolest part. But anyways, but I digress. So whatever. Let's just every time you see Carolina Leave It, think of the irony of all MAGAs doing gender affirming care that they stop other people from doing, because that's what the